Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And it is the 1st of December, so let's get into a month of meditations to, get us very spiritual and balanced for the holiday season ahead, going into the new year of 2022. My sobriety birthday is December 17th, and I was just talking about this on my vlog the other night. We don't borrow time in recovery, so if I should make it to December 17th, I will have 27 years of sobriety, which is, it seems honestly so surreal to me. And, I'm such a believer that recovery is a gift. And, but this month, from like Thanksgiving to the 17th, is kind of a reminder of dark times in my life. And so I wake up and I'm kind of reminded of where I was 27 years ago. And, I know that that's a long, long time, but for me, sometimes those images and those memories are very, very vivid. It's like I either can remember very specific situations that happened or I can't remember them at all, But this month, this kind of like countdown, is always a difficult time for me. I don't know why. And I was just talking about this on my vlog the other night, that it's like the month leading up to it is like really, really difficult. And then the month after is kind of like this uplifting spiritual moment for me, because that's when I entered treatment and I started to see the light, a little bit. And so things started changing positively for me in my life. But the next 2 months, like for me, always looking back, are such a pivotal, profound moment in my life. And so I'm always very introspective, spiritually and just personally, from November to December and then on into January as well. All right, so let's get into today's meditations. Oh, I was going to say, the way that I kind of like help myself stay focused through all of that is by reading meditation books, doing my prayers and meditation in the morning, doing a lot of gratitude lists, things like that, to remind myself what a gift recovery is and what a gift, my life is in general. And it was interesting because I did a Q&A recently, and I was actually talking to my friend Tanya about this last night. One of the questions I got, which I thought was such an appropriate question, but from like an outsider who doesn't really know much about recovery, the question was, if you relapsed, would you be honest with your audience? And like when I read the question, I thought, it's kind of such an interesting question, And my friend and I were talking about it because I think that goes with saying that like the assumption is that if I relapsed, that my life would continue to go on as normal, that my using wouldn't affect my relationship with my husband or my best friend or the people in my life, or, being on YouTube and making videos every day and things like that. And the reality is, I don't know about any other alcoholics and addicts out there, but this alcoholic and addict, using for me is, I was a low bottom alcoholic. And what that means is that like I was at the very bottom before I came in. Like I really truly believe that my bottom is death. And so if I go back out there, I hope that I would have enough humility and I think fear of the outcome that at some point I would make it back into the rooms of recovery, but I don't know, which is one of the major reasons why I don't pick up, because I just don't know. A friend of mine last night who has about 45 years of sobriety was sharing with me. He's like, people ask me all the time, like, you've been sober for so long, why do you continue to go to meetings? And he goes, because I don't know. If I really am an alcoholic, I'm afraid of losing everything that I have in my life. And, recovery is the foundation for that. And I so believe that, right? And so, it's for me, and I can only, like I said, I can only speak for this alcoholic and addict. If, I go back out there, it's not going to be a question of being honest with my audience anymore. I won't be filming videos on YouTube. My life will be destroyed, like very, very quickly. And, one of the things that I've always been taught is that when you go back out there, you end up right where you were before you came back, before you came in, very, very quickly. And I have seen that witnessed by very dear friends of mine. I had a friend of mine that had sobriety into, their 20s, 20 years sobriety, and relapsed, and within 6 months had basically lost everything and was sleeping on their drug dealer's couch. Like, that is not the life that I want for myself, and it makes me very, very sad, for them. And I still pray for those people, and I still care very deeply for friends of mine. I've had a lot of friends of mine that have gone back out, and it's interesting because they do lose a lot very quickly, and they go back to where they were, and I think, God, I can't, as scary as my life looked like 27 years ago, and I just did a video on my Peter Does Stuff channel talking about the importance of coffee to me, and I said, it was called something like, Do I Matter? So if you want to hear more about my story, you can go over there and probably those of you that watch this channel watch that as well, and I appreciate that. But you know, like, for me, it's just like, my only concern if I went back out there would be to get as high and drunk as I possibly could. So, you know, it's like, I look back at 27 years ago, and as scary as it was, I didn't even really realize it was that scary at the time, you know, because I had just gotten so used to it. And I look back on that and I think, God, I can't even imagine, okay, in my simple, cozy Christmas mystery, drinking coffee, taking naps with my husband and dog, having brunch on Sundays, life. I cannot even imagine in a million years, and hey, call my life simple, I'm fine with that, right? I can't in a million years imagine going back to the hysteria, toxicity, negativity, and drama and chaos that I lived in every single day of my life, and had no reality how it was affecting my life, or had no idea how it was truly affecting me, and most importantly, how it was affecting the people around me, you know? And so, for all of those reasons, I am so, so grateful that I am sitting here today and I am sober. And you know, it was interesting because in talking to my friend last night, he said, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why it worked for me. I don't know why I'm still here sober, but it did, and I did what people told me to do. And you know, it's really that simple. And you know, people ask me all the time, like people, not just on YouTube, but like friends of mine and stuff that are not in sobriety, they'll say, like, all these years and you still need to go to meetings, you still need to call your sponsor on a regular basis and do inventory and all, and I'm like, they're like, you're very involved in a 12-step program. I'm like, yeah, it's, you know, most of my friends are in 12-step programs, and they're like, do you really need that today? And I'm like, I don't know, but that is what I see of my friends that have 30, 40, 20 years of sobriety, that live amazing lives and have amazing relationships in lives, that they continue to do those things that we were taught in early sobriety. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? So I will continue to do those things, hopefully, you know? The 4 years that I didn't go to meetings and I had no connection to a 12-step program were really some of the worst years of my life. Even I had no emotional sobriety, and those years were worse for me than the years that I was using, because I know this won't make sense to people out there that don't use, but if you've used, okay, or you're sober, you'll know what I'm talking about, okay? I wasn't drinking and using, and I didn't have that relief, but I also didn't have the relief of a 12-step program, and I really didn't care if I was here anymore or not, and I wasn't a very nice person. And so it was 4 years of selfishness and self-centeredness and not really caring about anyone around me. And I look back at that and I'm like, and honestly, fear is what kept me from going back. And what's so crazy about that, if you're somebody out there that used to go to meetings and you're like, I want to go back, but you're fearful of doing it, I was scared to death. I was scared to death to go back. And I went one night because I didn't plan on this video being all about this, but I went back because I made a list. It's so strange. I had made this list, you know, of like vacuum, do laundry, yada, yada, walk the dogs or whatever. And I just like got halfway through I was right in there, right in the kitchen. I was like writing it out, and I got halfway through my list and I just started bawling. And I called my best friend Tanya and I said, will you take me to a meeting tonight? Because I was too afraid to go by myself. And she said, I've been praying for 4 years for you to ask me that. And so we went to a meeting and everything changed for me, you know? And I can remember I was going to a speaker meeting every Sunday, which is the sister meeting to my home group, which is a meeting that you go to on a regular basis, or you make a commitment to going to that meeting on a regular basis and doing service through that meeting, having a service position and things like that. And so I was going to the speaker meeting, which is where somebody gets up and tells their story, and it's a much easier meeting because you can just sit in the back and listen. You don't have to participate. And I was at the point when I came back in that I was still very scared of what people would think about me, you know. And there was a friend of mine that chaired that meeting, and he went to my home group meeting. He said, when are you going to come back to Tuesday nights? And I said, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. And he said, Peter, we love you, and we're ready for you to come back whenever you're ready to come back. And so I called Tanya and I said, can we go to our home group meeting? And she said, sure. And so we went the following week, and I think it was the following week. It might have been 2 weeks, I don't know. Probably it was, knowing me. It took a little bit of courage, you know, to get to that point. And we went back, and I walked into that meeting, and it was literally like I hadn't missed a week. I mean, everybody was like, it's so good. I mean, I'm like, the compassion and kindness of people in sobriety to give me a home when I didn't have one, to make me feel like I had a family when I didn't feel like I did, to make me feel loved when I couldn't love myself, you know, to make me feel like I was a person of character when I felt like I was a crap person, you know, and the way that they welcomed me back in with open arms, you know, and it was just amazing. So if you're out there and you have stopped going and you want to get back into it, go. Trust me, okay? They'll hold your hand once you get in there, you know? Love and tolerance is our code, and we'll love you till you can love yourself. So anyway, wow. Well, that was a long intro at 10 minutes and 24 seconds. So let's get in and read something today from one of these meditation books. I actually brought 4 today. So let me just kind of skim through them really quick and see which one. I'm like, October 22nd is what I pulled up. And I'm like, I cannot even believe that we're almost over the year. Here it is, December. I just pulled it right to December. I can't believe that the year is, oh, this is a good one for what I was just talking about. I can't believe that the year is almost over. It just seems surreal to me. Okay, so this is from The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty, which I think you all know by now is probably my favorite book. Although I have to tell you, if I was going to make a recommendation for another meditation book, this Meditations for Living in Balance, Daily Solutions for People Who Do Too Much by Ann Wilson Sheff, author of the million-copy bestseller, Meditations for Women Who Do Too Much. This book is so fantastic, you guys, and I love the meditations. And you don't have to be in recovery to read this book. It is just, it says on the back here, at last, a sequel to the phenomenal bestseller, Meditations for Women Who Do Too Much, for men and women who seek balance and joy. We can bring ourselves to a place where rushing, high adrenaline, and frantic no longer feel normal or desirable. To know balance is to know peace. From Meditations for Living in Balance. It's just, it says on here, with her signature wisdom, insight, and humor, Sheff shows us how to stop living at the mercy of frenzy and chaos and start savoring daily moments that center, calm, and nourish us. Contemplation and ultimately practical actions come together to help us tune into ourselves, be still and mindful, lighten up, laugh, and revel in the adventures of every day. And if I remember, I'll put this in my Amazon store. I just have that store so you guys, I mean, if you want to buy something over there, I appreciate it. I make like 3 cents, you know, maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 3 cents of 3 cents on the dollar or something. But I just put it over there so you guys can find the books if you look for them. So if I don't have this over there already, I'll put it over there. All right, but from Melody Beatty's The Language of Letting Go, which is the sister book to Codependent No More, which if you're making up your Christmas list and you want to ask for something, the book Codependent No More literally changed my life. So I would highly recommend it. And this book is just, I mean, it's fantastic as well. Okay, letting people, or December 1st, letting people be there for us, which is kind of what we were just talking about. Sometimes we need nurturing. Sometimes we need people to support us. Many of us have been deprived of support and nurturing for so long, we may not realize it's something we want and need. Many of us have learned to block or stop ourselves from getting what we want and need. We may not reach out to have our needs met. We may be in relationships with people who cannot or will not be available to meet our needs. Or we may be in relationships with people who would be happy to respond to a direct request from us. We may have to give up something to do this. We may have to let go of our martyr or victim role. If we ask for what we want and need and get those needs met, we will not be able to punish people or push them away later on for disappointing us. So true. I've been that in my life. We may have to let go of our fears enough to experience the intimacy that will occur when we allow someone to love and support us. We may even have to learn one day at a time how to be happy and content. So true. Learn to let others be there for us. Today I will be open to identifying what I need from people, and I will ask for what I want directly. I will let others be there for me. You know, a couple things I'm thinking of. First of all, one of the things that's interesting to me is that when people say I'm very guarded, and they say it as like a badge of honor, and I always hear as I'm very guarded as you, that's sad to me because you don't allow people in. And, you know, there have been points in my life where I have been very guarded as well, where I feel like I have been failed by people, or I have been hurt by people, or I have hurt or failed them. And so I just kind of keep people at a distance. And the reality is that I am missing out on those relationships, you know? People want to love us. People want to care about us. They really, really do. And so when I hear that, it kind of makes me sad for people. You know, it's like, well, I think that we have to allow people to love us. You know, like I was saying, I just did this whole video talking about social anxiety on my Peter Does Stuff channel, and the amount of responses that I got from people saying, I so relate to this. Well, one of the tricks to, and I didn't talk about this on there, but, well, I did kind of, but one of the tricks to helping with social anxiety is really allowing one person at a time, one day at a time, to love us, you know? And it's hard. It's really, really hard because you think that person is going to hurt you. You think they're going to say something about you. You think they're going to be vindictive or betray you or talk about you behind your back. It's really hard. And you have to do it, like I said, one person at a time, one day at a time. And you have to realize, and even if that person does, then maybe the next person won't. And you have to realize not everybody is out there that's going to hurt you. There are people out there that are going to love you and they're going to be kind to you, you know? The other thing that I wanted to say about this is at the end of the meditation where it says, hold on a second. We may have to let go of our fears enough to experience the intimacy that will occur when we allow someone to love and support us. We may even have to learn one day at a time how to be happy and content. And then it says in here, hold on, where's the thing where it says about asking people directly what we need? Or we may be in relationships with people who'd be happy to respond to a direct request from us. You know, I think there was something else I wanted to read in here. Oh wait, we may have to let go of our martyr or victim role. If we ask for what we want and need and get those needs met, we will not be able to punish people or push them away later on for disappointing us. And you know, for a big part of my relationship with my husband, that was a relationship that we had with each other, you know? And then we got into counseling and it was this brainiac idea. It took total brain, you know, science to come up with this idea of, hey, instead of having your partner assume that they know what you want or what you need, why don't you just ask for it? Like, wouldn't that be a lot easier? And we're like, ask for what we need. Say, hey, listen, you know, I really would like some compliments on, you know, how I'm trying to make the house look nice, or hey, I did this for you, or you know, can we just say thank you? Words of appreciation. The love language book was fantastic. Well, the 5 love languages, that really helped us too. Really understand each other and ourselves, I think. But asking for what we need, you know, can be as simple as, I need more date nights. I need more sex. I need, you know, I need more intimacy. I need to talk. I need to be able to have a conversation with you. You know, like, yes, I understand you want more sex, but I need to have a conversation in the kitchen because that's my love language. You know, whatever those things are, you know, for you. Because that's what I hear a lot of my friends say, is that they'll say, like my girlfriends will say, my husband always wants to get intimate, right? But I'm like, you can't romance me in the kitchen, but then you want to just do it. You know, it's like, okay, well, ask, you know, instead of just turning a cold shoulder and saying you're not in the mood, say, you know what, like, it would mean a lot to me to get like a back rub first, or, you know, I know that this is crazy advice, but whatever. This is just what I've heard my girlfriend say, you know, or to say like, hey, like, thank you so much for making such a wonderful, nice dinner for me. You know, like, romance me in the kitchen a little bit too. I think we think it's so hard to ask people, even our friends, for what we need, you know? My friend Tanya and I get in the car and we drive around, and, you know, sometimes I'll get in the car and I'll say, God, I've had a really bad day, and I'll say, can I just vent for a couple minutes? And she'll say, yeah, sure. Or she'll say, oh, God, I just need to talk. Can I just talk for the next 10 minutes? Let me go first. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So then she does it, you know, and that's asking for what we need. And once we start learning about that, of being transparent with our friends and our family and saying like, hey, this is where I'm at, this is what I need, life goes so much easier. You know, listen, none of us can read crystal balls. I mean, none of us are mind readers. And it's like, you know, I don't know, it's like the old analogy, you know, of like, the wife gets mad because the husband doesn't ever bring her flowers, and, you know, they're in counseling, and she's like, you know, you never bring me flowers, and he's like, I didn't know that you wanted flowers, and she's like, well, you should have just known that. What? Like, no, none of us are mind readers out there. You know, none of us can figure out what other people want. So it's important for us to be transparent. And I had a lot of that when I was in counseling, that I assumed Alex should just know. And he had a lot of things that he assumed that I should just know. You know, and wow, did our world change when we started just communicating to each other and saying, hey, this is what I want or need, or this is, and that doesn't mean that the other person is like, yes, sign me up, I'm right there. You know, it's just like, that's not always the case, you know. But at least it leads to an open conversation. So great meditation today. I love that. You got to allow people in, and life's too short, you know? And yeah, there's going to be some people that hurt you along the way. That's part of life, right? But if we shut down, I mean, it's very much like you got to get back up on the horse, you know? I mean, if you shut down, you're missing out on some great experiences. And, you know, for years, I didn't allow people in. I didn't have friends because I was afraid of people. And my life just opened up. You know, I have this bookmark that said, the day that I began to read, my life just, the day that I began to read books, my life opened up, or something like that. And I think that about when I allowed people into my life and I started developing friendships. You know, and today, I still have boundaries around all of that. I don't have a lot of friends. I only have a few people. Those people I trust implicitly. I know that they're not going to betray me. I know that they're not going to hurt me because they haven't, and it's been years, right? But it took time for me to get used to that and be comfortable with that. And one of the things that was really important about that was that I had to be a good friend too. It wasn't just about what's their part. It was about, Peter, what is your part? And are you being the friend that you want in return? And that is so, so, so important. So we have to communicate to each other what we want, you know, and that's okay to be cheesy and say, I want a friend that I can rely on and call at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. I'm the kind of friend that I need like deep relationships with people. I just do. Like if I don't have a deep connection or a deep relationship with somebody, it's not gonna last over time because I need deep relationships. And my friends know that because there are people that need deep relationships too. And so it works for us. Anyway, great meditation. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing beginning to December. Happy December 1st. Happy Wednesday. You've made it halfway through the week. And I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.